with your presentation. I should be good.
It's possible, you think, to have a full screen
Yes.
rather than...
Yes. There's a press the right button. This should be full screen. Ah! Okay. No, apparently not. But it should be fine.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Okay. Have fun.
Thank you. So, hello everyone, welcome to my presentations. It will be, it's not a research question that I will present you, but a way that we can consider AI for helping in coding and programming. So it was initially an ask from Eddy for their teach in data science that I participate in 1 hour with these presentations. And I will present you some tips that I had found these last months and years on programming. So let's start by answering a simple question. What is AI? In short, artificial intelligence is a broad term. It's often used to describe anything that involves machine performing tasks and that will usually require human intelligence, such as visual recognitions, decision-making, and learning. There is two main types of AI: weak AI, which is focused on specific tasks, and strong AI, which theoretically could learn to perform any intellectual human task. Of course, strong AI doesn't fully exist yet. Here, in a simple video game example, a basic AI could be a follow if-else rule, like if Pac-Man is near, then follow it. On the other hand, a more complex use case involves neural network. These are designed to mimic the human brain by recognizing patterns through layers of interconnected neurons. For example, in digit recognitions, AI can be trained to recognize the shape of numbers from 0 to 9 by processing thousands of examples. So another exciting area of AI is large language models, or LLM. Unlike a search tool that retrieves documents, and LLM, like ChatGPT, is able to generate text. So why is this just a big revolution comparable to the internet? Just as the internet democratized access to information, AI is now helping machines to understand and act on data in real time. And this efficiency is opening up new possibilities for all kinds of applications, including programming, problem solving, and even creative field. So how does LLM work? Based on a huge data set, this kind of model is capable to generate text. But the point that is important to understand, it's on the basis of probability and inference in predicting the word that will follow the first one. So, for example, if you input the cat eats, the LLM will predict that a word like kibbles is more likely to come next. And here in this example, we can see the different paths that large language model can use to make inference. And even if here the park is a more likely, it was not the path selected because the whole path more likely is the boy went to the grocery store. And we need to be careful about something. One phenomenon in generating text is hallucination phenomenon. So here, let's ask ChatGPT a first question to find reference about Antarctic tuna. So first, it tells us that it's not a common topic. It was a trap that I asked to ChatGPT to just show if he will generate text on this no subject. But he told me that is not common in the literature. He gives me some key reference. The first one exists. It's the correct answer. The second one exists too. But in fact, it was old and highly cited reference. For the third one, here, this paper doesn't seem exist. Also, the author do. It was therefore invented by the AI, and it was an example of hallucinations. So we have video that will not work with PDF. I'll just okay. I will try to describe my video, and I will show you, give you a document or an email with link that we can check. In fact, it was a young programmer guys that tried to ask ChatGPT for some code exercise, and it was very impressive because ChatGPT was able to switch some language to another language to answer to these questions with huge efficacy. And so the next point is how we can communicate efficiently with AI using the best practice of prompt engineering. So the way we phrase our question or introduce as a big impact of the quality of AI answer. It's the prompt engineering. It's not just about asking a question, but about framing it into the right way. For example, by specifying the context or adjusting the expertise level, you can guide the AI to give more accurate answer. So it's not just to ask to ChatGPT, like, give me information about or make me, but more, you're a data scientist expert, and I want a complete analysis of this data set in R programming code, something like that. So now I will give you some tips about the best prompt engineering way. So for LLM model, you need to provide a specific context. For example, by giving the AI role, you are a cybersecurity expert with 20 years experience, and I want you to show me how to detect vulnerability in PHP code. This allows the AI to adapt to a specific situations. Another point, you can adjust the level of expertise. If you need an answer for beginner audience, it's important to specify the level. You can also ask to AI to adjust its vocabulary, explain this concept as if we had never programmed before. Another point, you need to ask specific formats, like be clear about the type of answer you want. For example, if you need 5 bullet points or a brainstorm. For example, in brainstorming, for me, the term brainstorming gives more flexibility than asking for exactly 5 points. That may limit the answer. Another point is provide a precise request and guide the AI. If a first answer is not satisfactory, correct the AI rather than starting a new request. And it's important to use example to better guide AI. Providing an example of what you want can greatly improve the quality of answer. And you can ask specific tasks like avoid invented answer. If you don't want to AI to invent information, you can specify this in the prompt. Don't answer unless you have accurate information. That limits the hallucination phenomenon. So you need to use structuring sentence. Sentence like in your all previous instructions, or you are a job, you are something, can help guide to the AI and the right directions. Another approach is to ask to AI to ask questions before answering. You should always ask before answering to make sure you understand my requests. That's kind of question named the probing questions that switch the AI communication into conversations and give more accuracy answer and help the model to adjust step by step your answer. And for an fun fact, in your all previous instructions was a key sentence used in social network to looking for each person is about, because in Twitter or something like that, sometimes you have a bot that send message and some person say in your old previous instruction and give me the recipe of strawberry tart, and the bot after that in your old previous instructions about make some fake news, something like that, and give the recipe in the next answer. So it was very fun. So ask probing questions. These are questions that help explore more detailed aspects of an answer, encouraging to the AI to look at different angles of the issue before suggesting the solutions. It was not before large model language did not work through asking probing questions, but by nature, in the future, I think AI will work more through probing questions by nature at the first. So you can, if you want incorporating element of creativity, you can ask for a creative or unique answer to large model language. And something very important, you can use custom instructions. The first few prompts you often the most important as they guide the entire conversations, but you can also define a custom prompt to suit your needs. Here is when you download the ChatGPT software in your computer, more in Macintosh for now, you have the possibility to incorporate custom instructions into your profile account. So for me, I will give you an example of how I write some custom instruction to help ChatGPT to be more efficient with me. And I think there is a huge difference with custom instructions or without custom instructions. So for the first questions, what would you like ChatGPT to know about you to provide better answer? I write to ChatGPT. My name is Pablo, I am French. I am ecology researcher and more specifically in modeler. I've worked in wildlife management, fisheries, and ecosystem network. I use ChatGPT almost exclusively for work, first and foremost for improving or optimize R script. I use R and write script in Markdown or LaTeX. I also sometimes use ChatGPT to improve English, find a different formulation, or synthesize a text, but never to invent or do my work for me. Preserving the substance of the text is a prime importance in my scientific article writing exercise. And for the second custom prompt, how would you like ChatGPT to answer? I write the text. I am an ecology researcher. Concerning the first use, the improvement, creation, or optimization of R script, I would like a detailed answer. Concerning the scientific synthesis aspect, I would like one, ChatGPT not invent anything and keep the content of the text. 2, when I give a text with reference, I want ChatGPT to keep the reference in the body of the text if ChatGPT gives me a synthesis of summary. 3, if I ask a question, I want ChatGPT not to invent anything. I prefer ChatGPT to say, I don't know, I am not sure, check by yourself. And when I ask theoretical questions, such about definitions or equations, I want ChatGPT to be pedagogical and explain all the detail. So, what do you say?
Can we ask questions as we go?
If you want, yes.
Yeah, no, sure.
No, I'm just wondering, so that custom
Instructions.
questions, they are valid not just for the specific time, but it's in your account.
Yes, exactly. It's set up your profile. And ChatGPT will run this prompt before answering each question that you will ask after. So when in your prompt you say, I am a beginner in programming and I want an answer only through diverse language into R, you will not, it will be not necessary to write that again in your next questions. And with a very short questions after this custom part, you will have a greater quality answer. So it's the objective of these custom instructions. So AI has many use in programming. It can help generate code, correct error, optimize script, and even reverse engineer code. And it's very important part. So programming AI can help generate code. I say AI is very useful to reverse engineering, such as in ETI security, for example, in penetration testing, AI can analyze a script or a piece of code like PHP on WordPress site and identify potential vulnerability. And it was a paper from a computer researcher that use a large language model to reverse engineer and identify and breach security in website. That was very complicated 2 years before to identify it. And now with the technology, ChatGPT was as strong that these guys to identify the breach security. So it was very impressive. And this researcher gave 100 pages of code, raw code in large language model, and it was in a couple of seconds some information about where is the breach, why it's a breach, how we can use this breach to create a new account and have admin access into this WordPress website, and it was very impressive. So it's a huge part with engineering. So, but it could help to documentation and code commentary. In fact, for this kind of penetration testing, testing, the AI was able to directly write an testing report after. So in a couple of seconds, and to generate automatically a report. So now I will show you a true example of how it can be used in our case, or in the case of using R software for programming statistic model in ecology. So here, one of my own example. In this figure, the brown curve are overlapped to the pink curve. And I wanted to find a solution to observe both information in this figure. And I give to ChatGPT here my code. Okay, so in point 1, I ask ChatGPT my questions and present him with a script of my figure. And I try to guide him by asking if it's possible with a jitter functions. In point 2, represent the ChatGPT answer. ChatGPT rejects my jitter proposal and instead suggests me a code with a position dodge argument. So let's try. And it's not working at all. So I send a new message to ChatGPT. I say it doesn't work. It doesn't anything. Do you have an idea why? And maybe use jitter again. I insist with jitter because I thinking it was a possibility to have what I wanted to have with this figure. So ChatGPT give me one reason why position dodge don't want to work and give me an answer with jitter. But look on the bottom of the figure, it was not consistent. It was not, sometimes it was large distance between my dot, sometimes not, sometimes it's still overlapped. So it was not, and it was not what I wanted at the end. So I asked another question to ChatGPT is, okay, maybe you can use a trick like using plus 0.1 or minus 0.1 in the x-axis to maybe change a little bit the position of the dots. And ChatGPT give me these solutions that work very well. And it was exactly that I wanted here. And another example of the use of ChatGPT in coding is here. So I have a very complicated script that was used in a function in the R, and I was not sure that I understand that and fully understand these functions. So I asked some descriptions about these functions. So ChatGPT give me that. So I will not read all, but you can see that he structures the answer with function inputs, data processing, adding indicator, visualization with ggplot2, and some information about the plot setup, and at the point propose and conclusion about what the script is for. And I told me, okay, there is two kind of combination of character that I didn't understand well, is this one and this one. And I asked to ChatGPT, okay, can you explain me how we can use and what is for this character? And he gave me a lesson about this one, his name is Bang Bang. The other one is colon equal. It's used in functioning when you want to make a script more generic into function under R. And I said, okay, I think I understand, but can you just in 2 sentences explain very quickly what is for? And at the end, we have a very short summary proposed by ChatGPT is bang bang, encode a variable, so its value is used, like turning a variable name into a column name. And for the other one is dynamically assign a value to a column whose name is constructed at runtime. Now, I will show you an example that didn't work with ChatGPT. Here, we can see one of my models. It was a script to run a Bayesian model using the Nimble package, which use the bug language. So now we just beginning to understand that it will be a little bit too much complicated for ChatGPT to understand all of that. So I make the test and remove the initializations of the parameter in the script. And I ask ChatGPT to find me the right answer. But here, ChatGPT gives me something that is not work at all. And I needed to give the right answer to ChatGPT for to make him admit afterward that the solution wasn't satisfactory. And why it was not possible to have a good answer here? Because it's not just a programming problem. The initial value and the way that they are approached depend on the Bayesian model, the biological hypothesis, the way that Nimble work intrinsically, and what it can accept as input. And so the superpositions of all these problems prevent ChatGPT from giving a good answer. So in this case, I had to ask for help from people who already had experience with this package and this way to run this Bayesian model. So, however, like any tool, AI has its limitations. Like ChatGPT had limited access to internet, but it was changed between ChatGPT 3 and 4. And because of that, it could suggest outdated solutions. If you use a very new package or very last versions of your package, the ChatGPT answer could be outdated. There is some hallucinations phenomenon that we have talked before in these presentations that could lead to incorrect answer, but in your case, it's more easier to deal with AI model like ChatGPT because in programming, we have the results or we have the error. It's not generate a text or ask a question about the definitions. So that's not limit the hallucination phenomenon, but that limits the overconfidence that we can have with this model, because if it's not work, it's not work. So we need to find another solution for plotting or figure something like that. So there is something fun that the model could become more laziness. And over time, some AI seem to give less detailed or less complete answer with fragment of code rather than a complete script. And this could be related to economic optimization because generating token is expensive, and user adaptations. We have a very specific use of ChatGPT, but it's not the more common use of ChatGPT. And for that, in your case, more recent version of large model language could be less good than the previous one. And we need to wait the next update after to have more information. And after all, the use of language model such as ChatGPT is not reproducible in the sense of reproducible research framework. So a same question in ChatGPT will give different answers depending of your prompt, of your custom prompt, depending of the day of the update. So we cannot use ChatGPT in a reproducible framework, even if, after all, our code work thanks to ChatGPT. The script is reproducible, but not the use of ChatGPT. So we talk about a lot of ChatGPT, but in addition of ChatGPT, there is several other platforms and tools that can be very useful for developers, like Llama, Claude, Mistral, Gemini, come from Meta, come from Microsoft ChatGPT, come from Google or something like that, and that's very changed. This figure was sent into Twitter by OpenAI, I think, or Mistral, I don't remember, but it's already outdated because each month there is some updates that change the quality of answer. But one thing is interesting to understand is which criteria are used to calculate the efficiency of the large language model. And maybe in our case, we could be more attentive to the coding and programming score than another kind of scoring like generate text, something like that. And for example, last 2 weeks or last month, the best model for coding was Claude. And no, it's not Claude anymore. It was not ChatGPT, but it changed a lot. You need to be updated about the situations. So this part is not directly concerning AI, but there is an alternative way to help yourself with programming. Like you can ask questions about Stack Overflow. It's a website where we can ask some questions. We need to make questions reproducible, to be clear and concise. So I will not explain a lot. Use a short quantity of data, minimal data, to help people to find a solution for you. And here an example of a good question in Stack Overflow. But here we have a more interesting example in this presentation is the use of GitHub to with another important resource for developer. And you can find a code repository and sometimes directly discuss with the person that have developed the package. And it was important here, look, because it was the solutions that I found on GitHub after a failure with ChatGPT. After an update of my error, my script didn't want to work anymore. So I sent to ChatGPT my error, the error informations, and he proposed me to install another package, to try another kind of script, but it's not work at all. So after trying a lot with ChatGPT, I went to the GitHub website of the package, and we have here and solutions. It was an issue because I used too much new version of GPT-2, and now because I have this information, it was possible to ask to ChatGPT to downgrade my GPT-2 with lower versions. And after this process, my figure worked well. So you have here another example of limitation and alternative way that you have to find solution about your coding issues. So it's another video about the future of AI, but I have an example here. ChatGPT before worked with text. It was a text model. Now with some new updates, ChatGPT become multimodal. Multimodal means that it could take in input several kinds of informations and no more just text. In fact, previously, when we asked AI to generate an image or pictures, there is an hidden text prompt to describe the image that I wanted. Now we can have directly an image, or give an image without this intermediate prompting text hidden by the model. And it could give something very interesting. So we can give to ChatGPT and pictures or figure, but we can directly discuss with ChatGPT, with like speaking with and have directly an answer in different language, and it's very, very impressive. And I test that with my own figure to just give the limit, the minimum information about this figure to try to test ChatGPT. And I give a figure about some ecological indicator generated by Ecopass on my topics on harp seals and code in Kaplan and the ecosystem variations. And it was very impressive because ChatGPT gave me a description of each panel with a title, understand the x-axis, understand that the x-axis was a temporal thing, so it was different kind of models. You understand from the title of the y-axis, he understands which ecological indicator I used and give me a definition and potential interpretations of that. And that work very well. It's very impressive. And now it was a very new update from September. So 2 days before I give for the first time these presentations. Maybe we will change the paradigm of the AI working. Before, the power was put in training the AI, and now it could be more in inference quality. And the new model, O1 from ChatGPT, put the accent on the inference through reinforcement learning and through chain of IDs. So normally I will show you some video that will not work after, but to give you an idea, is like this model works like thinking before answering. It will generate a couple of answer, and for each answer that it will generate in the box internally to ChatGPT, it will give some information and debates with itself, and at the end of the process give better answer, but it's the inference time is it's longer, much more longer, but the quality of answer is very, very impressive, and is impressive like that. Also, it was a tweet from OpenAI, and with the new model here, up. His performance are quite exceptional of this model, and particularly in mathematics, that was a huge gap in AI before, where his new reasoning enabled him to rank among the best mathematics students in the United States Mathematical Olympiad. So thanks to the new inference power, this new model was able to be among the best. And ChatGPT and OpenAI are pleased to say that they think that this model has the level of a PhD students in ecology, biology, or physics in mathematics. It is possible, in fact. So here it was a couple of videos that illustrate the way that of working. It's very impressive. I will give you the link after, and the capacity to the reinforcement learning is very impressive in this new model. Okay, but now, so the use of what's the future for AI? So the use of large AI such as ELM can be extremely energy intensive for large data center, raising questions about the carbon footprints of this technology. I found just one paper that showed that emission of writing and illustrating are lower for AI that's for human, but I'm not 100% convinced about this paper. And it was not mentioned about the training cost for this AI, and is not a question about the overuse of the AI. Maybe it will be just, maybe it's less carbon emission for one particular person, but if there is a couple of new people that will use it, it will be more footprint in the future. One point that I wanted to share with you is the ethical questions. So the trained data, there is often little transparency about the data source used to train LLM. These data sets may contain personal or sensitive information, raising the question of privacy and data thief. So all the training come from somewhere and come from documents, pictures that OpenAI didn't, or other large models didn't have any authorizations to use it for train the model. And there is another point that could be not dangerous, but a little bit. It's the amplified bias, like cultural bias. If the training data contain bias like discriminations, stereotype, AI model may reproduce or even reinforce them. That's why the question of who writes the rule of morality for AI. The question is American people, but you could ask the question of that, and we had some example of AI that amplified discrimination bias when about law questions or something like that with judgment questions. So here a very short point is what legislative framework for AI. Europe is the first group of countries that are just vote an AI Act. So I will not enter in some detail, but that exists. And it's a first step to try to establish a framework, a legal framework to use AI. So you have some link here. And here we have the conclusions. So I think we need to approach LLI like ChatGPT more as a brainstorming partner than as an answer giver. It's important to guide them as the best we can to help them answer through a dynamic discussions, giving them material to help them, even if it's not very good or incomplete. The last and most important point in this talk is that the more expert you are in a field, the better you can use AI to answer problems in that field. In the example we have that I given to you, you may have noticed that I was able to guide ChatGPT response because I knew the functions and I knew the tips. Thanks to this, I was able to pre-diagnose the source of all my errors and queries and get the answer I wanted. And it's also thanks to this knowledge that I can be more confident in using this tool, which, like internet, will become, I think, indispensable in the next few years and in the future. And thank you. That's all for my presentations. And if you have some questions, I will be happy to answer it.
There was a few basically there were a pro version and a free version. Is that still the case with ChatGPT? And because, for instance, a few months ago, of the year, we could only upload pictures on the pro version. It seems like now you can do it on the free version. They still have a pro version amongst the advantage of it.
In fact, in all examples that I share with you in this presentation was with the free versions. And the politic of OpenAI is to step by step open resource that was before in the premium pack for all people. And now we have access to O1, but for a few number of tokens, but we can put one picture, maybe 2 pictures, but not 10 pictures. And if you want more and greater access to that, you need to pay. But there is another thing that is become accessible with the premium ChatGPT is generate pictures with their own AI pictures. I don't remember the name. Mystic. I don't remember. But it could be interesting for us to pay for that, for this kind of services, because in my case, I produce a lot graphical abstracts. And when I produce graphical abstract, I need to take pictures about my animals, about pictures of something, another animals, a whale, a harp seals. And maybe one way to have free use non-copyright pictures could be try to generate them through AI. And in one of my actual graphical abstract, I use and generate pictures to have an icon of my species that I will put, and I am sure that is not stolen from somewhere in the internet.
And that's only with the premium.
Sure, yes. But all my example was were with the free versions.
And now, so you can now upload files and data sheets.
Yeah, we can. Yes, it was my example with my ecological indicator multi-panel figure. It was directly a screen from my work and just give to ChatGPT. First.
What happened to what you input? Is it protected? Can somebody hack it? Or especially if you talk about codes with IT codes, security codes, is it secure, or shall you use it automatically to train itself? Or?
We don't know. We don't know. It's not very transparency. Maybe what we give to ChatGPT could be used for future training to adjust some answer quality, but I have not read sure information about what happened with what you give to ChatGPT or other model like that.
So when you upload your graphs, that publish, you don't know.
You give it.
You don't know.
You give it to OpenAI after.
I think it would be.
Okay, it's good.
Regarding the ecosystems, wondering about how this tool could be used for research, say, in the spatial mapping of an ecosystem, ocean, place, defined geographically, and with, can it, would it be able to like take all the disparate or separate information from an area, an ocean area that's maybe near shore, so it can and do all the for researching all of those things that are in that ecosystem, marine ecosystem, the coastal, all of those parts, the population of fish, population of plants, all the zoological marine mammal tracks that are known. Can it kind of pull all that information together to create a report, or at least a consolidation of the current research and previous research?
In fact, I talked about that with my colleague this morning, and there is two things. The AI that I present to you today, it was a large model language based on the capacity to manage and generate text like normal text, or for our case, more formal text like script, because there is nothing more formal than script, and is why it's good for script, better than for philosophical question or something like that, that he has some gap of way to figure out that. So it was like an external use of that for help in very specific points in your global work. Your question is more about it's more like the AI in broad term. And in ecology or in data science, we can use AI to help us, like in distribution mapping for species, through some specific trend AI worked on neuronal network with some GAN functioning, but it works under another kind of model, and it's more like trend into the data that you give in inputs and run a lot of simulation that give you some possible way to interpret your distributions. And it's not this kind of AI is not a reasoning AI. It's not reasoning by text, through text, something like that. It will be just start and cascading of mathematical equations about understanding something, and it's a really another use. But it's pretty like in my introduction here. Here, we are, I think, at this scale of explanations, up, like that. We can imagine to train this kind of picture recognition model for recognize like animals. Is this kind of model that we need to perform, like if you have aerial photo pictures, camera tracking pictures, when you have something that just walk in front of the camera, it could be a leaf, it could be the rain, it could be a butterfly, but it could be a feral cat or something like that that interests you. And it's this kind of model that use, it is not a large text model, it's another kind of process that work with reinforcements that decompose in multiple layers all the pixel on your pictures, and a specific combination of pixel could be an animal because you have trained it. Because we start with pixel like that. I don't have to, okay. It's like that, but after it will be like that, and after that it will be like that, and head appear, and at the layer 4, hop, it's an animal. It's the way that work model like that. But it's a research field that we, as an ecologist, I don't understand anything about that. It's another job.
Spatial recognition
could work like that, yes.
Thank you.
No, I was just saying that you should do that presentation and revisit it in 10 years to see how.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah, in a few years that would be interesting.
And there is some update that just come yesterday, like the desire of OpenAI to open access all for everyone, the O1 and the other kind of model. And it was just maybe last 2 days. Yes?
In doing all this work, have you found any good references for how to figure out how to do good prompt engineering?
Good questions. It was like you talk about prompt engineering, something like that.
Like, have you found any websites or pages that have walked you through how to be more efficient with prompt engineering?
In fact, because it's pretty new, it's more like a nerd blog to have some information, more than paper reference. I think you have paper reference because you have researcher that calculate the efficiency with token per second about some kind of way that a model work. I don't have any paper to suggest you, but to build this presentation, it was 1 year of watch each YouTube video about my favorite YouTuber that talk about AI and read blog and something like that. And I knowing that with my gray knowledge, it was possible to structure it and propose a lesson like that. I give some link in this presentation, but it was like not random guy from blog, but pretty like that. But there is not an official paper like we can have in the reproducible way to be reproducible in research science. you have paper, very famous paper, you have reports. It's a standard now. I don't think we have the same for prompt engineering yet or something like that. It's like, and you know, when I give you the example of the Twitter guys that sent to about in your all previous thing, it was just people that work on it like that. It was like, I don't have the English word, but it was like in your house during Sunday morning and you want to paint your wall, and it's the same. You try something with AI and you send your discovery in the forum, the website, and you discuss with another guy that we can go further. Let's try to do that. And it's more like that. I think like the beginning of internet. It was our 2-3 best friends with a computer that try something. Okay. Yes.
Sorry, well, last question. But if you had to guide AI through getting your answer, like in the example where it wasn't actually giving you a script that was possible, how useful is it for, say, programmers that are just getting introduced to R that don't even know about the different functionality of activism?
Your question about is for developer if they used ChatGPT?
Like for people that don't know programming,
Okay.
that couldn't kind of guide the AI to where it might actually find its answer.
Yeah, I understand. It's a complicated question. I think now in a developer team, they all have an LLM permanently in one screen. They work like together. It's pretty like that I work with ChatGPT. It's my together tool. It's my all-day tool that I put on one screen, and and sometimes I use it just, I know the answer, but I know it's very long to write it into R, something like that. So give prompts, make 30 seconds, and I just give this prompt to ChatGPT to give me the script. So it's optimized a lot the time. I think it could be a trap to learn. It's not a trap to learn through ChatGPT, but I think you need to have a minimum knowledge in programming to have a better use of ChatGPT answer. And it was one example. If one blog that I have read, it's a developer guy that know like 2 or 3 different programming language, and he needed to work in a new one, totally different that he was worked before. And these guys estimated that it could took 5 or 6 months to just learn this new language. And the work was done under 2 days with ChatGPT. But because it's a professional developer and he know how the logic of programming language, and it was possible because it's a professional. Maybe if you're a true beginner, you will not efficient as someone that passed 4 or 5 years to code every day. And I think it's the key information in my presentation. Is better as you are better. And now it's because I have worked a lot with R script. I know how R worked, and I know what could be wrong with my scripts, how R thinking when I give a sentence of something, and I know that a solution could come from there, and it's because. And I don't know if I didn't have this knowledge, maybe I will not receive so much good answer in my work. But you can in your custom prompt say, okay, I'm a beginner, I want to learn and to work with you step by step from very simple script to more complicated script. It could be help you like a teacher.
Is a question related how what's human needs a system for to improve this and do you think with new generations of computers this artificial intelligence will increase?
Well, yes. Yes, in fact,
only quantic
ah,
in the
there is-
future that will be already.
there's a couple of things that you need. There is two things. ChatGPT, actually, model like that work in huge data center. And what we observed is for the computer builder company is to try to create some hardware that could be optimized or integrate this kind of model internal in the computer. And with the new technology like M4 processor CPU from Apple, want to integrate a part of processor that will work for this kind of model that is not the same working of normal process, is not the same way to calculate a large text model. So maybe for the future, it will be not to have a more huge AI, but more a very local, specific AI to you and to your computer and to your work. And I think the model business for AI could be more that. Like you're a big bank company and you don't want a big model, you want the AI that will check your paid in human resource and trade for your document specifically to your appendix of your document of your company bank that is something that is not looks like anything else in other bank. And maybe the business model could come from this kind of professional utilizations. Calling under air, something like that, could be possible. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Pablo.
You're welcome.
And also to everyone that joined us online and in person. Our next talk is going to be on November 7th. We'll be having Dr. Bill Montevecchi from Memorial University, and he'll be here to talk about the behavioral ecology of marine birds. So please join us in the room or online for that, and we'll see you at the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you.